Good afternoon, everyone. I am Indu George, a assistant professor from Albertian Institute of Management. Today, we'll continue with the topic communication skills we started discussing in the last session. In the last session, we spoke about the verbal communication skills and the need for effective communication skills. Today, let's move further and discuss about non-verbal communication. So, non-verbal communication is communication that uses no words. Very simple. It does not use any words. Then, how does it communicate? It may communicate through body language, your gestures, your postures, your facial expressions, the space around you, the time language, the sign language. All these are different ways in which non-verbal communication happens everywhere. The meaning of non-verbal communication often varies markedly across cultures. So that is another interesting factor. There are certain things or certain actions or gestures which may have a positive meaning in certain cultures, which may have entirely different negative meanings in different other cultures. The space around you, the colors that you use, all these parts of non-verbal communication varies across culture. We'll discuss more on those later. Studies suggest that a substantial amount of information transmitted during a conversation, about 80 to 90%, is nonverbal. Very interesting, isn't it? So it is only the verbal part of communication is only 7%. Most of the other part is of non-verbal communication. So you need to have a clear understanding of non-verbal communication so that you can effectively communicate with others. Now, when you speak about the forms of non-verbal communication, there are many. Let's start with proxemics. Proxemics is the study of body language or the signs of body language. So when you speak about body language, there are different parts. We'll be seeing those later. The second is proxemics. Proxemics is the study of space. The space which is around you and the space which is given to you communicates a lot. The next is paralanguage. Paralanguage is language which is does not use any words. We'll come to that later. Then the time language and the sign language. So these are all different parts of non-verbal communication. Let's move into each of these. The first one is kinesics or body language. When you speak about body language or kinesics, there are different parts to it. Let's start with the first one, which is the head movements. We start from the top. Head movements. The movement of the head and the neck is also very important. It also communicates a lot of things. We normally say, hold the head high. It shows confidence. And we say that, why are you not looking straight when you keep your head down? So it shows it is normally a way when you do not want to speak about something else or when you have done something wrong, normally you have your head down. So movements of the head and as well as the neck communicates a lot of information which is part of kinesics. The second one are the facial expressions. We can say that the face is the index of the heart. So that means whatever is in the heart is reflected on the face. So it is one of the most important ways in which we communicate. We also speak about it as oculesics. The signs of eye contact is actually called oculesics. By one estimate, the human face can make 250,000 different expressions. We have heard about the Navarisas, but think of this. 250,000 different expressions can be formed on the face. And one of the most easiest expressions that can be formed on the face is the smile. It takes more muscles to frown than to smile. And smile is actually one of the most important and the most useful facial expression. Even when people try to suppress facial expressions, they make very short expressions lasting a fraction of a second that will reveal true meaning. So that is another interesting factor. Because sometimes we may try to control our expressions, but for the split second it comes to our face. It is non-voluntary. Many of these non-verbal communication expressions are non-voluntary. So it is not within us. So that is another important point, because however much you try to control your facial expressions, for a split second it may actually come, and it may reveal your true meaning. And another important factor is, suppose like when there is a verbal and non-verbal expressions happening, you say something and you use a totally different expressions. Normally people pick up on the facial expressions and read the meaning from it, and it is not the words that we use. The next is the eye contact. Eyes are the mirrors of the soul. Very, very interesting. Whatever is in the soul is reflected in the eyes. You talk about different types of eyes: sad eyes, starry eyes, dreamy eyes. So different eye types of eyes we speak about. So these are all different expressions that is shown in the eyes, which reveals to others what one is thinking. So when you speak about eyes, another thing is when someone is actually listening to you, or then that person will give you eye contact. So eye contact, you can say, is a major regulator of conversation. You look at the people, you know how they are, whether they are looking at you, and then you can understand whether he is following or that person is with you. When that person is not maintaining eye contact, it may mean that that person is not interested in communicating with you. Generally, eye contact suggests understanding and interest, and seeking eye contact shows the desire to open a conversation. So when you see a person, one of the first things that you make with the other person is eye contact. If that person does not return the eye contact, that means that he is not interested in having a conversation with you. Whereas when that person gives you the eye contact, it means that there is a genuine interest in that person to start a conversation with you, so that you can go further. Next important nonverbal communication part of body language is gestures. Gestures are the physical movements of the arms, hands, etc., which communicates a lot. There are different types of gestures like emblems, illustrators, regulators, and displays. Emblems are actually one type of gesture which can actually replace verbal communication. So instead of saying I am hungry, I actually show that a specific action. It shows that I am hungry. By showing that action is similar to saying the words I am hungry. So instead of saying well done, I may show thumbs up. So that is another important. So these such actions which can replace verbal communication are called emblems. Next are the illustrators. Illustrators is another type of gestures where, along with the verbal communication, to emphasize that when I use gestures, they are called illustrators. When I'm saying the third and final point and shows those three fingers, it shows that it is illustrating or emphasizing the third point. And the final point, when I'm showing like that, it is emphasizing the verbal communication. So that is another illustrator. The next is regulator. Regulators are types of gestures which are used to regulate a conversation, like time's up. When you show that specific action, it is regulating the conversation. So such actions are also different gestures that are used. And another is displays. Displays are a type of gestures which happens or which comes involuntarily without our knowledge. That means when we are angry, sometimes our face turns red and we have an angry expression on our face. So that is a display without our knowledge. That is a gesture that is coming out. So these are the different types of gestures that are there. So hand movements have a specific meaning that is understood in a particular culture or occupation, such as a thumbs up gesture. So what is said here is there may be sometimes same gestures may have positive and negative meanings. So depending upon different cultures, this may change. So as it said, the hand movement thumbs up or showing of victory signs, they may have one meaning in one culture, it may have a different meaning in different culture. So you need to have a clear idea of cross-cultural communication so that you are able to make a clear communication. Like sitting, when you are actually nodding your head, that is a positive gesture. It is a positive action. Whereas when you are sitting laid back, it shows that you are not listening. So likewise, there may be positive as well as negative gestures. Next is posture. Posture is the way people position their bodies with respect to others. So how you hold our body is also very important. We say when you are actually in presentations and all, normally we say no, they do not have closed postures. That is, arms across the chest like this is a closed posture. It shows that you are not interested to listen. Whereas when you put your hands down at the sides, it shows that you are willing to listen. Hands at the back shows that you are a confident posture. So likewise, postures also have a lot of meaning and gives a clear understanding to others about how you are feeling. That's just by looking at you. Next, another important factor is the touch. Touch can convey warmth, understanding, and intimacy. It is also called haptics. Touch or haptics can convey intimacy. So there are times where it is not necessary to say a word at all. All it requires is a simple touch. So it is very, very powerful. But at the same time, it is also essential to know about the good touch and the bad touch. Next is appearance. Final part of body language is appearance. Dress can convey characteristics such as image, mood, identify power, wealth, and authority. So, how you are dressed will give an idea regarding your address also, how you are, from what background you are. All those things can be just had one look at you and others can judge you. So, you talk about first impression is the best impression. One of the best ways to create that is by the appearance. People who are dressed formally and are better able to command the respect, because just by looking at them, we feel as if they need to be respected, or they are someone special, or they are powerful. So automatically we tend to respect people who are dressed well. People in positions of authority often wear distinctive uniforms to reinforce their status, just like police wearing cassocks, the policemen wearing uniforms. To show their respective positions and status also, there are different ways in which people dress, and that gives them power and authority. Moving on, so that is regarding the various parts of body language or kinesics. Now moving on to the other types of nonverbal communication, next is proxemics. Proxemics is the use of interpersonal space, that is proximity, how close that you are, conveys status or a degree of intimacy. When people are sitting close together, what does it show? When people move into our personal space, it shows those people are very close to you. All the others are expected to keep away from our personal space. So the amount of space that is around you also communicates a large amount of information. In the same manner, in an organization, the amount of space which is allocated to you, that also communicates a lot of things. If you are a director of an organization, definitely you will be given a bigger cabin. There may be a suite of rooms which is allocated to you. Whereas when you are a normal member of employee of the organization, all you may have is a desk and a chair. The space where your space is located also communicates. The director of an organization will be having most probably inside an organization where there is a space for a secretary to sit, and that person actually controls even the people going in, whereas a security person has the space outside the organization. So where your position is located is also part of communicating what you are in an organization. So proxemics is a large area of discussion. So that is a very important, interesting factor. Next is paralanguage. This is another important factor as far as non-verbal communication is concerned. Modulation. The modulation of voice, like the differences in the tone that you are using. When it is monotonous, it is very difficult for people to communicate or understand monotonous communication. But when you modulate your voice, what happens? People will be able to understand your communication better. Pauses, silence is golden. So it is essential to pause where there is necessity. Pause actually brings control. Sometimes when we pause and wait, what happens is others will automatically listen to you. So you should know how to pause and how much to pause. Longer pauses actually breeds boredom. Whereas if the pause is too short, then what happens is the message may not be clearly communicated. So pauses are actually very, very important. Next is the speaking speed. If it is essential to speak at a medium speed. If you are speaking and you speak at a higher speed, maybe when you are excited or when you are angry, you may use the speed may become larger, or the speed may be more. And you may, when you are depressed or when you are down, the voice that you use may be very low. So in normal conversations, it is essential to use a medium speaking speed. The same with the volume. Amount of sound that you are raising is again very, very important. When you are excited, when you are angry, in all those, automatically the volume of sound increases. When you are depressed and sad, automatically the volume is low. And so it is essential to know these differences in variation. And normally in all the conversations, normal conversations, you are expected to maintain a medium volume. Next is non-fluencies. All the different sounds that come in between, all these different sounds that actually form part of your conversation when you do not get words. They are called non-fluencies. These are words which we use, when we are thinking about what to say, or when we are not getting the correct words, or when you are not having a good vocabulary, or when you are not confident in that specific communication, you tend to use non-fluencies. So it is when you use more of non-fluencies, it shows that your confidence is less in communication. Now we move on to what are the essentials of effective communication. When you speak about the essentials of effective communication, one of the first factors is to listen. To communicate effectively, it is necessary to listen to others. Then be assertive. When you are saying something, be assertive. If you are not assertive, others will take benefit of you. So it is essential for you to be assertive in communication. Say I. When there are times where we have to emphasize that I as a person will take the responsibility and accountability. So communicate. So it is essential to say I will do it. I will be in charge of this. I can do that. So here you are actually taking responsibility and accountability for things. It is essential for effective communication. Avoid judgment. Do not judge others. There may be different ways or different the reasons why people are not able to communicate well. Do not judge. Separate facts from opinion. It is very essential to listen to facts and not to opinions, because any decision which is based on opinion will not be right. You need to have the right facts before you make a good decision. Be aware of emotions. You please understand that people keep on moving from one emotion to another. So it is essential for a good communicator to know that these emotions play an important role in how people are communicating. Be positive. Always try to project a positive attitude and image so that others understand that you are actually ready to communicate with them and to listen to them. Be aware of your values. You need to have good values so that you talk to others about it and spread it. Ask for what you want. It is very, very essential, because if you do not ask for things, you are not going to get it. So to get things done, it is essential for you to communicate. Ask for things you want, or others who ask will get them and you will not. Take body language into account. As I said, non-verbal communication, body language is very, very essential, and times where verbal and non-verbal communication is not balancing, people tend to listen to non-verbal communication. So understand the importance of body language and try to use it to your advantage. And understand the influence of cultural differences. Please understand that in different cultures, different gestures, postures, different colors, etc. have different meanings. So once you understand this, then you will be able to communicate better with people belonging to different culture. So that is all about communication skills. Thank you so much for patiently listening. Thank you.